Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Owaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Owaze, let's spice it up. Welcome back to the Owaze Show on this Friday. Hey y'all, what it do?
I'm trying.
You are trying. It's your girls, Howie and TG, here on this Friday. Literally mid-December. And it's crazy because it almost marks a year since we've started the show. I'm so happy, y'all. Me and TG have just been reflecting and looking back over the past year, and we're so excited, guys. To be able just to tune in every Friday with you guys. So welcome back. Happy Friday. Can't hear yourself?
There's still nothing yet.
There's.
I am?
Yes.
I can't hear me.
It just has to be boosted up a little bit. But I can hear you.
But happy Friday.
Yay.
I thought we gotta get the week started.
Absolutely.
Started? Ending? You know what I mean.
Same thing, pretty much.
But I hope you guys are tuned in and having a fantastic Friday evening. We've had... See what I mean?
Now. You can hear yourself better now?
Yes.
All right.
My narcissism was kicking. I'm kidding.
That was literally, transitioning into our topic for today. That's what she was doing.
I had to, but it's been an interesting week for us. We had to get a bunch of things done and everything, and we've had a really long day.
Got a lot of things done, in fact.
Yes. It was a great day, actually.
It was.
And we are heavily caffeinated, so excuse the all-out energy.
It was funny because somebody was saying to us when we were with each other the entire day today since 9 a.m. They're like, you guys didn't get sick of each other yet? And I've never thought about it like that.
We have so many things we haven't talked about.
Exactly. I was like, no. I was like, that idea would never cross my mind. And they're like, oh my God, you guys are so lucky. I'm like, yeah. So we basically spent the day, and now we're here doing the show with you guys.
True. And we've had this topic.
This is a cute shirt. Y'all, TG just took off
It's hot in here.
her jean jacket, and I'm seeing the shirt that she is wearing for the first time this entire day, and it's super cute.
Right?
Yes, it is.
You understand why I'm not out here like this.
I get it, but it's cute. I would wear this.
I know. But yeah, so we've had this topic locked and loaded for 2 weeks or so now.
Yes, I've been wanting to talk about this for some time, for sure.
It's definitely an interesting topic as far as we are concerned, because we like to say that we're students of human behavior, and we like to talk about character, personalities, patterns, and things like that when it comes to people. And I feel like it feels kind of mythological almost unless you encounter a person with this personality.
I mean, I think the issue is that this personality type, once you understand the patterns and the signs and the characteristics, then you're like, dang, I think all of us definitely have known a few, individuals like
once
this.
But then some people take it to like Bollywood movie levels, and you're just like,
no, that's sick. And those are actual exceptions, because
I can't believe I lived through that.
Extreme levels of anything in life, I would like to feel like they are not the norm, they are the exception. And unfortunately, some of us have come across people who take it to the extreme.
I love it. I have so many stories for you guys.
Oh my God. Today's topic, if you're like, what on earth are you guys talking about? Spill it. We're talking about narcissism and individuals who exhibit, I think all of us exhibit narcissistic, tendencies from time to time.
Yeah.
But people who just tend to have these kind of behavioral traits always. So that's what the topic for today's show is. And the reason why we wanted to talk about it, we've said this a couple of times, me and TG, we're empaths, and a majority of the time empaths do unintentionally invite narcissistic people into their life.
Also, narcissists sometimes consider themselves empaths.
What?
And being an empath can be used as sort of like an input into your narcissistic behavior as well. I will talk about it later. We will do a quiz. Now you're scared?
I think that's like, it turns into manipulation. But you know what? We'll dive into that in a little bit.
We'll do a whole quiz, like a test that says, are you a narcissist or are you an empath?
Child.
Because the lines between those two are
Blur?
so interesting. Whereas the input is the same. It's the output and what you do with the information that you get from being able to sense people's energies, from being able to read the room, from being able to observe things, and how you use that information is it either makes you the empath that you are, which leaves you drained and just tired, or at least a good people person, or you can use that sort of empath like abilities to manipulate people because you already know.
You're saying that basically they are one and the same, and that is essentially why they end up attracting each other.
Yes, it's what you do with that information that gets used and misused and turns a person into a narcissist.
I look at it as this. I think a lot of us were not aware of these two terms.
Yes.
And we just simply feel like we're who we are, and we simply exist as who we're supposed to be. But if you're not aware of yourself, if you're not aware of, these two, I guess, individual personality types, then you're definitely always going to fall under just being used, or I guess manipulating people. Like you can be one or the other. And I think it's very important, since we're always about self-reflection here on Oaze's show, that you learn a little bit about yourself and you ask yourself, which one do I fall under, and how can I guess, essentially learn more about myself and improve myself?
Absolutely. And so I'm sure you have stories. I have stories.
Child.
It's actually, once it's passed and you've dealt with it, it's actually really entertaining.
You can laugh at it.
Once it's passed.
When you're in it, it is not funny at all.
Child.
Okay?
Child? Cha-cha-cha.
No, but I think this is a good one. I really want to get into the quiz and understand more, because I feel like I gotta learn some things. So I'm looking forward to that. But we want to also know what you guys think. Which one do you feel like you fall under? I don't know if anybody openly will ever say, hey, I'm a narcissist.
I follow a couple of people on social media that are diagnosed narcissists.
They actually have openly said they are?
Yes, where they know that they are, but they are trying to be better and do better. But they basically sit there and explain an interaction during their day and how it made them feel and react towards that person, and how they are trying to unlearn that and react in a healthier manner.
Wow.
But it's such a huge level of self-awareness to be like, I'm a narcissist. It developed because this happened, and this was my defense mechanism or something. It develops for a reason.
I think it's important that we be able to tell people what each are and how they come about. So we'll definitely do that after the musical break.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, y'all, this is going to be a whole thing in today's show.
We're going to find out if we're narcissists, you guys.
You know what? I think this is self-awareness at its finest.
You have to be able to ask the hard questions. Be like, am I a great person, or am I just self-involved? And I think I'm great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Like we said, we want to know what your guys' thoughts are. We want to be able to not just only do the quiz, but we want you guys to join in and do the quiz with us. So make sure to tune in and follow us on all social media platforms. That's Oaze Media, y'all.
Oaze Media is where you're supposed to
We
follow
changed
us.
it, yes.
Even on our Telegram, it's Oaze Media, AWAZEMEDIA.
All right, let's get to a musical break, and then when we come back, more here on the Oaze Show. Don't move a muscle. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Oaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Oaze, let's spice it up. We're back at it, y'all. Welcome back to the Oaze Show here on EBC 104.7.
How y'all doing? I've had way too much water today.
I mean, you have to be able to balance water and coffee. We've had a lot of coffee today.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense.
See why you dehydrated now?
Jesus Christ, you guys.
Yes.
We went into coffee really fast, really hard.
I mean, to be honest,
I worry about us.
To be fair, essentially, we weren't always coffee people. I think that we eased into it much later into our life than other people. Because I was not a coffee person.
Like a year ago is what she means.
Yes. And I was not really a coffee person in my life. But now,
Same.
I'm kind of like, I feel my energy going away. I need that boost. So I think we've had like 2 like double cups of coffee, 2 or 3 today. It doesn't matter. Either way, we're getting through the day and we're here with y'all. And
We've each had 4 cups of coffee, and we're very excited to be here today.
we're very excited. And this topic that we're talking about today is one in which I've been looking forward to talk about because I want to understand more about it. Apparently, you know, being a narcissist, understanding narcissism has its layers, I guess you can say.
Absolutely, in the sense that I don't think anybody wants to admit they're a bad person.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Nobody will be like, oh, I'm a bad person and I do bad things. All right, let me get back to being a bad person and doing bad. You know what I mean? That's just a weird thing to do. So even people who are manipulative, cruel, people who lie, they will still tell themselves they are great.
I think right before the musical break, when you were talking about individuals who have openly stated on social media that they have seen those characteristics in themselves and they're like, you know what, I'm trying to correct myself and be more self-aware, I give them
that's incredible.
So much
like
prop.
As a narcissist, that's the one thing that you can't do. So narcissism is the extreme self-involvement to a degree that it makes a person ignore the needs of those around them.
Yes.
It is thinking that you are just you, by the way. You are God's gift to earth and humanity, and you are just the best thing breathing and walking. Now, don't get me wrong. It's good to have self-confidence and to think, I'm amazing, I'm great.
There's a difference, guys. What we're trying
Yeah.
to say is that there's a difference between having self-confidence and loving yourself and believing in yourself and being a narcissist.
Yes, and exactly the point is you loving you and you thinking you're great has limits in the sense that if you're willing to walk on other people, if you are unaware of the fact that you being self-absorbed and how that makes other people feel, what that kind of behavior does to those around you, then you can be classified as a narcissist, where it's just the You Show starring you, backed by you, featuring you,
produced by you,
and presented by you.
Whereas an empath, guys, those who are empaths, basically what it means is that you have the capacity to understand or feel what another person is experiencing from within their frame of experience. So it's just being able to put yourself in another person's shoes and being able to relate to pretty much anyone around you simply because of the level of compassion you have within yourself.
That's damn near opposites, isn't it?
Exactly.
An empath is all about other people, while a narcissist is all about themselves.
So that's why we're saying that even though they are opposite, apparently they have similarities.
It's like this little loop where you run so far away from each other that you form a loop and you come back right to each other. At the end of the day, it's important to note that narcissism is a trait, but a narcissistic personality disorder is a thing all on its own.
So like we said, it's a disorder.
Yes, so not every narcissist has a narcissistic personality disorder. There's a spectrum to it, obviously. People who are at the highest end of the spectrum are those who are classified as having a narcissistic personality disorder. So all of us, a little bit, you're supposed to be a little selfish sometimes.
I see that. That's interesting because
You know what I mean?
I think that for those of you who are tuning in, if you're like, dang it, well, sometimes I'm like this, all of us are. All of us do exhibit some characteristics of, narcissism. That's,
As you should. I feel like that's healthy.
it is.
Sometimes you need to choose you above everything and anything else.
That's like when we talked about saying being selfish at moments is self-serving and it's very much necessary. This is what we mean.
Yes.
But when you are like this all of the time, then you need to check yourself.
Scary. So just to... maybe you don't think it's you, but maybe you think somebody around you is a narcissist. That's the easiest point to start from. self-reflection is a tough one to do. So we'll start with looking at the people around you.
Ooh. All right.
So people who show signs of narcissism can often be very charming, very charismatic, and you will not see negative sides of them, the bad sides of them at the beginning of the friendship or the relationship. So initially, it is all butterflies, rainbows, unicorns.
Jeez.
You know what I mean?
You are literally immersed into this person because they just know how to paint the entire picture, right?
Yes, because at the end of the day, a narcissist's whole point in making connections and interactions with people is so they can feed their ego and be told how great they are and be told how wonderful it is to be around them because there are no negatives.
This is how I feel about cats. I feel like cats always want to be praised. They always want to be like, you know what I mean, in your like attention and just all around you, and they want to feel as if they are literally the best thing in the world.
Yeah, so a narcissist, if you're dating one, for example, initially it would be about love bombing. Love bombing is about, it's very early stages in the relationship. Yes, you get giddy and you still have butterflies, but there are certain people who overdo it, who are there at the drop of a hat, even though you've only been seeing each other 2 weeks, who just shower you with love and attention and want to spend all their time and money on you, and it's all about you, and they never ask for anything in return.
Ooh.
It's scary, right? They
never look at it like that.
They throw love bombs at you, and they make you feel so loved and so seen. They have all the common things that you love, they love, and all the things you want to do, they want to do. And they're always there for you, and you're just like, I've never been so loved and appreciated.
I think many of us should tune into this because we probably have dated a narcissist or two and maybe did not realize that this was part of that. Please tune into the next.
Yeah, it's not, after a while they got tired of me. No, they were doing that on purpose. Because once somebody loves you like that, it's so hard to go back to a functioning and normal relationship where there are ups and downs, where I can't be there for you all the time because we've only been seeing each other 2 weeks. I got stuff to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't drop my entire life to come run to you.
Right.
We just started going out. That's weird. But once you get used to being love bombed and suffocated with love almost,
you actually expect your entire relationship to always be that way.
And it also gives you a period of time that you can cling to because it is so unrealistically great that even when things start going downhill, you will always have the impression, the initial impression you have of a person always sticks with you. And the initial impression was, nobody has ever loved you like that before.
Have you ever, and I think a lot of us can attest to this, for those of you tuning in, when you look at how downhill a relationship went and you're like, but it was so great at the beginning.
It was so nice.
Like in the beginning, he or she was this and that, and you wonder why it's still not like that now. Narcissism.
You know, once you understand characters and people have certain characters that they fall into,
you can't fall for it again. I think it really does come back to the point of being self-aware. That's why we're talking about this today, because maybe some of you guys are aware of who you are and the kind of people that you've attracted and the kind of people that you've dated, the patterns. Or maybe some of you guys, you're like, no, I don't know which one I fall under. But the whole point of today's show was to be able to just be like, yo, man, we got to talk about this, because me and TG, like, you know, we've attracted, you know, relationships like this in the past.
And now that I think about it, I'm like, I'm so happy I walked out of that, away from that in one piece.
For me, to be honest, same, because there was a relationship in which it dragged on long.
Yeah.
And I dealt with the repercussions of dating someone who was a narcissist. But when I finally decided to walk out of the relationship, I literally was like, oh, I'm done. And it wasn't like, I'm done and, you know, my heart is, you know, in my hands. It was like, nope, I am whole and we are leaving. Yes. But
absolutely.
It's
so
crazy.
When it comes to narcissists, there's two types. And they happen, like most things, because of things that have happened in their childhoods.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
The first one is the grandiose narcissism.
All right.
People with the behavior were more likely treated as if they were superior or above others when they were kids. A lot of times, only children tend to experience these. I'm sorry, it's true.
Yeah.
If you were raised in an environment where people just thought you were great, you were a great kid and you were perfect and you could do no wrong.
They basically fed your ego your entire life.
Even if you had siblings, if they picked one person to praise consistently, that creates that grandiose narcissism where you think you are chosen, you are selected, you are better than everybody. And so with them, they are very aggressive, they're very dominant, and they also exaggerate their importance, their talents, their intellect, everything. They think there is nobody on this earth, living or breathing, that knows or can do anything better than them, which is scary when you think there's 7 billion of us. You really think you're the only one.
But you can imagine just how long that they've been always told that you're great, you're beautiful, you're, you know what I mean, this and that. How long
beautiful is a scary one too,
right?
That's a scary praise that leads to narcissism. You need to be an ugly child for you to avoid these things
at some point,
because
all you will have,
all you will have is that. And I have seen it with excuse me, I have seen it with some friends that were just gorgeous as children. Like, why are you pretty as a child? What is, as a child, sure, 3-4 years old, everybody's kind of cute.
Yeah.
But then, like,
never had ugly stages.
Yeah, awkward almost into your teen years. You're supposed to be ugly. It creates character. I'm really worried about you if you've always been pretty.
But it's not only that. I mean, okay, fine. You can be beautiful. You can be handsome. You can be whatever it is your entire life. I think that how you were raised or the kind of environment that you were around, if you are constantly being fed through the lens of, oh, you're great, oh, you're this, you're that, beautiful, all the time, then you're not going to have any sort of empathy for anyone around you.
True. If you were beautiful, you need to either have a lisp or something. I swear that you need to be taught character and be taught that you are not perfect. You need to be teased a little bit. You need to understand that you are not a full package and you have some strong points, but you also have some weaknesses that you have to work on. Otherwise, if everybody just focused on that one great thing you had and amplified that for you, chances are by the time you become an adult, you will think you're perfect, and that's dangerous.
Ooh, it's interesting because when you look at empathy for those who are empaths, it's literally the opposite in the sense of being able to identify what different empaths there are. But first, I want you to finish with the second narcissistic trait.
So the first one is grandiose. The second one is vulnerable narcissism. It usually results from a childhood of neglect or abuse.
Okay.
And this is where it becomes closer to an empath, in the sense that people with this behavior are very sensitive. It helps them protect themselves against feelings of inadequacy, even though they go between the feeling of they're either inferior or they feel superior, and they're trying to compensate for all of it all at the same time.
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's a lot. That's a lot to handle. And they feel offended or anxious when others don't treat them as if they're special. So I have to convince you that I'm great. I am constantly trying to reinforce that thought that I matter, that I am seen, that I am beautiful, you know what I mean? As opposed to just on a whim having that confidence of walking into a room and be like, I'm the best. It's a constant struggle of trying to prove to everybody all the time that you are the best, and they can't see
that you're trying so hard underneath
anything
the surface.
Underneath that.
Wow.
Which is, it's, you know what I mean? We're not saying they went through some things that resulted in these behaviors, and it's kind of sad, honestly.
You know, I don't want people to confuse this with having a low self-esteem, because yes, you know, a lot of us have our insecurities, and there are things in which we do want to improve and we do want to be better at. But this is different when it is a personality trait and you are always trying to pretend to be something that you're not in front of people, or proving yourself 24/7.
It's so much work, and it's such a heavy burden to have to carry, of having to prove that you are perfect all the time. So as opposed to, yes, I worry for people who have grandiose narcissism, because they will never understand what it feels like to be a mere mortal and experience love and tears and joy and sadness and happy and all of those things to the full extent, because they feel like they're above it all. They tend to miss out on everything else.
That's a sad life.
Yes, and at the same time, I'm sad for vulnerable narcissists, because they can never ask for help. They can never let their guard down. They can never let anybody see who they really are. So both instances, very sad.
Oof. That is an interesting gateway to be able to talk about what empaths are, because they say that there are 3 different types of empathy, or being able to identify or show empathy to people.
Yeah, and we're top 2 out of 3, just so you know.
Most likely. Most likely. And by the way, there is a difference between being sympathetic and being empathetic, because I'm sure you have heard both words. They do not mean the same thing, even though they sound very similar. And basically, when you say sympathy, it's kind of feeling pity for someone. It's like you feel bad for someone, but yet you stand at a higher ground and you're basically looking down at someone. It's like, miskeen, you know what I mean? Like, you feel bad for someone in that sense. Whereas empathy, you're basically being able to put yourself in another person's shoes and trying to understand life and their experiences through their eyes. So that is essentially the difference between the two. But when you look at the 3 different types of empathy, they look at cognitive, emotional, as well as compassion. So that's what they mean when they talk about 3 different types of ways that you can be empathetic towards a person. So when we say cognitive, you're talking about, you know, simply trying to understand how a person thinks or what they're going to, and they call it perspective taking. And so that's one way of understanding it. Emotional, we can understand, just being able to feel what that other person is feeling.
That's trash, by the way.
It really is the part that I think drains an empath, because you are physically not just only talking to that person, but emotionally being like, this is what they're going through. You're literally carrying the burden with them, which is why a lot of empaths are like, oh no,
we're tired.
I'm tired. I want to go home. Yes, so that is where the strain as well as being drained as an empath comes from. And then the last one is, you know, being compassionate. And that's basically, again, showing empathy towards a person, wanting to help them, wanting to do whatever you can so that they are no longer in that place of, you know, sadness or hardship. You're trying to be able to take away as much of the burden from that individual as possible.
Yes, which is when you learn to set boundaries, it's a good thing. But before that, I say I have a knight riding in symptom, that complex, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Horse in a carriage and everything, where I want to rescue everybody, I want to save everybody, you know what I mean? Everybody that's ever put in my path, I want to help you, and that's not healthy or sane
at all.
You're not supposed to help everybody. You're not supposed to take on everybody's burdens.
They say that, you know, being an empath or having that high sense of empathy is actually not something that comes naturally for a lot of people. And I say that because a lot of times people who are empaths, it's something that they have become since they were children. When we talk about ourselves, me and TJ, I think that comes from a lot of our childhood trauma that has pushed us in that seat of having to become an empath.
Because it was a survival technique and we needed it to be able to just live our day-to-day lives and survive and get out of those situations. We needed to be empaths to be able to detect a problem coming and get out of the way.
When we say being an empath, it meant that we dealt with a caretaker who was a narcissist. So essentially, when you have a caretaker or somebody who you have been with for a long period of time in terms of, I guess, growing up, you ultimately take on the seat of being the empath because you're trying to tiptoe around that person, you're trying to accommodate that person and make sure everything's okay.
To make sure their honor wasn't insulted, what they needed, their needs were met, where you're the child, and that is the caretaker's responsibility, but you tend to reverse roles. They act like a self-entitled child where if they want to throw a fit, they'll throw a fit. If they want to be happy, they'll be happy. And as a child, it was your job to read it before it happens so that you can figure out a solution for it ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Practically emotionally raised our parents.
That is what it is in a nutshell. And honestly speaking, us talking about it today, I think me and TG have come to a lot of awareness of ourselves. It took a long time. We're not trying to sit here and say that we have it all together, but I can say that we have come a long way and we understand the characteristics of being an empath and understanding our boundaries, but also that we are likely to attract narcissists.
Yes.
And to know that
it feels like home.
If that's all you've ever known,
it feels that's the home you knew. That's the home that raised you. So as evolved as you want to be as a person, some things just feel like home and they draw you in if you are not intentional and self-aware of where you're going.
100%. I think in this situation, when you unlearn certain things, it feels foreign and you might feel uncomfortable because, like she said, it's not home and you're like, well, what do I do with this? How do I grow out of this? But once you become more self-aware, you start to understand that there are healthy boundaries that need to be in place. Those healthy boundaries serve you. And so we want to know, for those of you who are tuning in, where do you see yourself out of the different types of empaths or narcissists? Do you think that you've identified who you are?
Yes. Do you feel like you're perfect and there's nothing in the world that is better than you? Do you feel like you cover up a lot of your vulnerabilities because you'd rather die than let people see that you have some weaknesses? Do you feel the need to save everybody? Do you feel the need to be the rescuer? And are you consistently drained because you find these sad stories and these heartbreaking stories and these heartbreaking people and you just take all of it on? Because we all have a little piece of that in us.
Absolutely. And we said at the beginning of the show that there is a quiz that we will take. Yeah, I mean, hey, I think we are going to take it all together so that we can be able to understand once and for all, which one do we fall underneath? True. Maybe the results might surprise you guys, but I think we should do that maybe in the second half.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll come back with our stories of our relationships with narcissists. I will explain the one relationship where I escaped the empath role and went into the narcissist side.
Ooh.
I switched places. One relationship.
Ooh.
Where I was just like, this isn't working out for me.
Okay, this is juicy. We're going to get to a musical break and we're going to have TG come back and tell
multiple lives.
The story. No, I can't wait. We're definitely going to have her spill the tea. Let's get to a musical break, y'all, and then we'll come back with more here on The Awaze Show. Again, you can find us on all social media platforms. Make sure to like and follow us on Awaze Media. That's AwazeMedia. Don't move a muscle. We'll be back with more. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Awaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Awaze, let's spice it up. Yo, welcome back.
Bonjour.
we were just talking like we normally do off the air,
Yes.
and TG started to tell a little bit of her story concerning how
I went to the
she
dark side.
went to the dark side. So spill the tea, woman. Let us know what happened.
Okay, so I started dating around like 10th, 11th grade, and that was my first love. That was my first boyfriend. It lasted for about 3.5 years. We broke up multiple times. We got together multiple times. We ended up going to different colleges and still kept it going for a year when he was in Rido and I was in Addis.
Oh, wow.
We didn't see each other the entire year. And the way that our relationship ended, like I said, first loves, very difficult things to navigate.
It's puppy love.
You know what I mean? But I was so invested in it, and I was treated like garbage, especially the third year. Like the first 2 years, they were great. We were in close proximity. Just very cute. I was taken care of. I felt loved. But the year that we were apart, he didn't call me a single day. I had to consistently call him. I had to send money that I didn't have from what my parents sent me so he can go out and chill with his friends. You know what I mean? It took so much effort for me to keep us together while we were apart. And it really felt like I was the only one that cared. And it ended once we could hang out during the summer, where he saw me once and he was like, never mind. And it broke me. And right after I got out of that one, I was like, nope, never again. Because after your first heartbreak, there's a little evil that comes out of you. You know what I mean? Once you get broken for the first time, you're just like, revenge.
Okay.
Like,
I get it.
All these men can go to hell. Men are trash. And so my next sort of kind of relationship was with someone who was one batch less than mine. So he was a freshman. I was a second year student. We were the same age. Tall, dark, handsome.
Oh, I've seen pictures of him. He's cute. He's cute.
I saw him around, and all my guy friends were dating freshmen at this point, because once you're like a senior, it was so easy to pick up freshmen. And I was like, me too. I want to do it. Me too. All of my friends can attest to this because they were around, because I started obsessing about this person. And mind you, I didn't know him. He didn't know me. And I was like, I'm not making the introductions. I'm not going to be the one to go up to him and be like, hi, nice to meet you. So what I would do is I knew what times he would be out with his friends. So I'd be out with my friends. I'd look cute. Once they walked by, I would make intense eye contact, smile, and keep walking.
Okay.
And I mean narcissist in like, this is what I mean by it's a very easy crossover between empath and narcissist. After I did it the first couple of times, I definitely drew his attention. I knew that because every time I came around, his friends would call him and be like, look, she's here.
Oh, wow.
And I knew I had gotten his attention. And one of those days, he ran into me by myself, and he came and introduced himself. He was like, why do you keep looking at me? I was like, I don't know what you mean. I've never seen you.
Oh, my God.
The psycho that I am. And that's how sort of the relationship started. But it wasn't supposed to be a relationship. It was supposed to be this fun little childish thing that we had going on, where this man was intrigued by me, and I could stay mysterious, and I could, just wow him, and he could just, you know what I mean? I wanted for once to not be the one that was the simp.
I understand. I think in your situation, you just felt a lot of heartbreak.
Yeah.
And you're like, enough. I'm sick of this.
I'm too great for you to treat me like this.
And TG was talking about during the musical break, she was like, I like doing social experiments. I like seeing things in real time. So I think you just wanted to see how it felt like to be on the other side.
Yes, but after a while, I realized it wasn't an experiment for him. He really genuinely liked me.
You understood what it meant to be
like,
that person.
Yeah, I was like, mistake, abort mission. But it was too late, and it turned into an 8-month relationship of me meeting his family. It escalated,
Oh,
bro. I didn't intend
no.
for it. Yeah, it really escalated. And so my little dabble to the dark side made me realize I would rather get hurt than be the one doing the hurting ever again. I'm done with that.
But understand, it was the empath in you that was
Yes.
like, I'm not capable of being a narcissist. Whereas a narcissist will be in that situation and be like, I didn't hurt myself, so I didn't hurt anyone.
Yes. Pretty much.
Do you guys see the difference there? See that there?
It would have just been like, I made that happen. That was great for me. Bye.
I think it's crazy because in my situation, I always see the first, you know what I mean, I guess few months for, quite a period of time, it going well. And then the switch happens and you're like, wait, what happened? Like, where did we go from it being right to it being wrong? And you're trying to just get it back to it being good. And then you just talk about the beginning as like the good old days. You're like, but it was so good at the beginning.
And it was like 3 months ago, you guys. It wasn't that long ago.
And you see what I'm saying? It's like, for me, it took me having to learn this lesson quite a bit for me to understand enough how we, like, you know what I mean? Like, no, like, how long does a pattern have to continuously happen for you to wake up and understand that this is something that you're attracting? When you are not in the know of who you are and the characteristics you exhibit, you're not going to understand what you attract either. That's why we say knowledge is power, yo.
It absolutely is. And what you need to understand is it doesn't start great, go bad, and just stay bad all the time. The second a narcissist feels you start to pull away or recognize their patterns, they will come right back with that love. Just throw a bunch of that love your
That's why
way.
they call it love bombing. That is exactly
It's
the
every now and
terminology.
then.
Yes.
It's just bombs. It's nothing consistent.
But equally, once they see that you are fully invested, once they see that you've become attached, then that's when they become all distant
Yes.
and manipulative.
They
and
will push the button just to see how far they can push it.
Yes. And the thing is, narcissists, if we're going to be honest, they cannot survive without empaths.
Yeah.
Whereas empaths, we can survive without narcissists. Okay? We can.
So hold on to that while we leave for the news.
Yes.
When we come back, we're actually going to do the quiz. Are
I
you
can't
an empath?
wait.
Are you a narcissist? Are we narcissists? Do we just think we're empaths? Scandal.
Oh my goodness.
Escandalo.
I actually cannot wait. I definitely want to take the quiz. I
Yeah.
definitely want to see which ones we fall under. And make sure to, stay tuned so that you can take the quiz too and see which ones you fall under. So we're going to get to a musical break. We'll see you guys in the second half. Again, you can check us out on all social media platforms. That's Awaze Media. That's AWAZE Media. Let's get it. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Awaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Awaze, let's spice it up. All right.
That was scary for me.
We had a long conversation during the musical
We
break, y'all.
talked about so many things during the 30
The
minutes.
fact that we went from the various topics, I'm like, how did we transition from one to the other?
When we came back, we were talking about the toxic relationship between Janae Aiko and Big Sean.
Yes.
That's what we landed on by the time we were done with the news.
Oh my goodness.
It escalated. We both have a slight ADHD where we go off topic and we just.
But somehow it works very well because it's kind of weird how you go from, this and this to like this and this, and then it goes to like a very meaningful conversation, but all sort of surrounding around the topic of narcissistic behavior as well as individuals who show, that personality trait of being an empath too, because that's what today's topic is about.
Yes. And so, like, sort of the differences between them, how you can tell if you are around a narcissist, because chances are at least everybody knows one or has encountered one in their lifetime. It's not a very rare thing to
One is not
encounter.
enough, TG.
I'm saying at least, like, if you had a very blessed life, you had at least one narcissist, which we've seen what only one can do.
This is actually scary.
They can crash the whole ship of a great life.
Burn. Like, that's, I think, the strange thing, in the sense that I think it's good to be exposed to different personality types.
Always.
Because if you're not aware of first yourself as well as other different types of personalities, child, you're gonna be bamboozled.
It's a trap. You should, small doses throughout your entire life, you should experience everything. Once again, please realize that narcissistic personality disorder and narcissism are two different things.
Yes.
You can be a narcissist, but it's not the clinically diagnosed, you need medication and therapy version, where you are liable to hurt other people physically.
That is an extreme case.
Like American Psycho is what I'm going for here.
Starring Christian Bale?
Yes. Now that is a person that has a narcissistic personality
But that's
disorder.
become psychotic. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's full on crazy. There's levels to it until you get there. But once it is like a diagnosed personality disorder,
It's taken on a whole different level.
you need all types of help.
But we've been talking about, in the first hour, about the different types of narcissist.
Yes.
We've also talked about the different, I guess, characteristics of being an empath. And we were really excited because...
To do the quiz.
Yes, we said in the second half that we would take the quiz and that we would bear to you guys who we really are.
We're scared.
Whether we fall under
No,
being a
we're fine.
narcissist or an empath. So I really want to take this quiz.
Yes. Before we do, Johanna inboxes saying, "Hola, my girls. You don't know how many narcissist people I thought of just sitting here, excited to take the quiz.
Ooh.
We'll see what kind I am."
Okay. Hey, Johanna.
You know, like I said, everybody at least has one story of a narcissist. And then after that, Yosef said, "Hola, girls. I'm a guy with narcissistic friends. I usually roll with what they do and say, but there was this one time where I stood up for my interests and we ended up drifting apart. And now, unknowingly, I'm becoming a narcissist guy myself. This is because I had my heart broken so many times and due to my desire to stand up against my friends. And now this is completely changing my personality in relationships. And they like my narcissistic side, but I'm actually very uncomfortable with it."
Wow. First of all, Yosef.
That's honest.
You know what? What's up, bro? How you doing? And I applaud you for being honest.
Thank you for doing the amount of work it takes to see that in yourself.
Applaud you 100%, because that's not even easy to be able to admit out loud.
Just be like, I'm displaying narcissistic behaviors.
Absolutely.
I'm uncomfortable with it, but it seems to get the job done.
Wow.
Yeah.
The world that we live in.
Crazy. But as advice for you, I talked about earlier, I don't know if you tuned in, but I talked about my dating history and how I got my heart broken for the first time, and it led me to act in a very narcissistic way and make sure that I learned everything about this person so I can full-blown con him into a relationship with me. Mm-hmm. For that person to genuinely like me and for me to be like, you don't even know who I am. Like, I made up a full-blown personality just so you would like me. But I did it so it would last 2 weeks. I didn't mean it for it to escalate. And
to
now
8 months?
Yes. And now you have feelings and I've met your family and I don't know what to do about that. So I understand getting your heart broken and being so standoffish that you would rather close yourself off to the entire world. I understand that it makes you want to be selfish because you're sick of it. You're just sick of giving yourself to people and never having that just come back to you and never having that being paid forward. But I'm a strong believer in the universe has a way, and that it really does reward people who are good and genuine at the end of the day.
You can say that because now you are in a very fulfilling
Yes.
and loving relationship. In
5
which,
years and counting.
yes, and so it absolutely happens. I feel like, you have been gifted with the with having that perspective of seeing both sides and seeing that, oh yes, it does suck to be manipulated and to be taken advantage of. But it also equally sucks to do that to other people.
Worse, because I am an empath, it hurts me to hurt you, so I'm hurt twice now.
Exactly. So here, even if you're feeling the same way, Yosef, I feel like you have that gift of perspective, but equally now you understand what it looks like to be both, and you can create those healthy boundaries, and you can be able to seek out now, knowing what both sides look like.
Yes.
Individuals who correlate to you and can also serve the same, purpose as you. I feel like it's great to be able to see both sides. The fact that you did TG.
Yes, you definitely should cross over at least once to the dark side so that when you come back, you understand I will lead from a place of love.
Yes.
And that's the thing that's going to attract love to me.
100%. I love that so much. I love that.
And
So, the quiz.
No. Okay.
You ready?
I've been ready. I stay ready.
All right, y'all.
So
Are you guys ready?
So there's just a bunch of questions that we have to answer.
All right.
The answers are never, rarely, sometimes, often, and very often.
So basically, scale.
Yes, a scale of, we'll do it from a 1 to 10, I guess. And I will categorize whether that's
1 to 10 or 1 to 5?
1 to 5. Yes, these are 5. So never, rarely, sometimes, often, and very often.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Cool. I'm down.
Do you experience an exaggerated sense of self-importance that frequently involves the need to exaggerate your talents and accomplishments?
Exaggerated and frequently.
Yes.
No.
Right?
No, I do not.
I'm like, I haven't accomplished much. I still have a long way to go.
Is funny.
Yes. So, rarely.
Yes.
Let's go with rarely.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you are special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions?
Oh, I'm a person who has dealt with low self-esteem for a while. So the fact that I've come to a place in which I love myself now, it has been work. It is not something that happened overnight. But yes, I do think highly of myself now, but it's not from a narcissistic place. It's from a place of self-love. So no, I can't agree with this.
I agree with it in the sense that if you don't love yourself, have at least some of your stuff figured out. I'm sorry, but you can't be around me.
No, for sure.
I work way too hard to create this zen place in my life to just associate
with anybody.
Whomever. So when I say highly, I don't mean money. I don't mean fame. I do mean, are you a good person?
I think it's a person, an empath, who is unaware of, you know what I mean, these kind of things and just invites anybody, is a person who is just basically not knowledgeable of who they are as a person. I think when you're unaware, you just invite everybody in.
It's a free-for-all.
For sure.
Absolutely. No, we have limitations.
Okay.
Excuse you. You're not everybody's invited. Do you find that you constantly have a willingness to take advantage of others to achieve your own goal?
No, I don't.
Jesus Christ, I would rather.
That's hard, I think, if you are that kind of person.
I'm scared when people want to do me a favor. I'm like, why?
What you want from me?
What is it that you want in return? Nobody does anything for free. So what is it that you want? I'm very scared of people.
When people are just like, no, just because.
Psh, I don't trust that. Not one bit. Everybody has a motive. So yeah, that's a never for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I do not trust people who do things for free. I'm sorry to anybody that does like pro bono and stuff like that, but creepy. Do you require excessive admiration from others?
No.
I will say sometimes.
For me, the thing is, the word is excessive. And I think if you want admiration, that's normal. I think as a human being,
is too much.
Exactly. So as a human being, if you want that from family and friends, we all want to have that sort of reassurance.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
But excessive, that means you constantly need it. Otherwise, you feel like you're worthless. No.
Yes, sometimes.
Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Owaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Owaze, let's spice it up. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Owaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Owaze, let's spice it up. All right, y'all, welcome back.
Where were we?
Yes, basically cutting back into where we were.
Yes, we apologize. We, of course, you guys heard the breaking news right in between the show, but the story was important. It had to be brought to you, so
Absolutely.
we apologize. We have like 5 minutes before we have to leave.
Basically, we want to finish up the quiz
Which
before
is
we
why
sign
we
out.
stayed,
Yes.
even though we have very few minutes left. So, just jumping right back into it. Are you preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love?
Say the question again?
Are you preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love?
The thing is, I do.
I have fantasies.
I do, because, my imagination, if you guys lived in my brain, my God.
Fun.
I have a lot of fun, exactly. So I do envision these things because I want to have a great life, for sure. And I will say that I do.
Yes, sometimes is a fair statement, because we like, it's fun.
It is.
Sometimes you gotta escape the real world, chill, have a little bit of fun, find, a prince and have him rescue. It's fun.
But also, I feel like manifestation comes out of that too, where you think
Absolutely.
these thoughts, you entertain these thoughts, you sort of invite the universe for it to happen to you. So yes, that's
Good
a yes
energy.
for me.
Do you have a sense of entitlement from others that involves unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with your expectations?
Wow, that's tough, because I know that all of us have unrealistic expectations sometimes. I think in relationships, sometimes we're like, well, my partner's supposed to read my mind. I think when I was younger, I used to think like that. I don't think like that for all people. Now that I've grown up, I really have tried to manage my expectations for people. I think when you don't, you tend to get hurt, but I don't have unreasonable expectations. I will try to be realistic about them.
Yes, it's a sometimes for me as well, where if I love you and you're in my inner circle, I do expect preferable treatment from you.
Oh, sure.
If I'm going to like a government office, I don't. I expect you to see one look in my face and just be rude and mean. I expect bad treatment, actually. That's what I prepare myself for.
Sure, I think in your inner circle, it's because you treat people a certain way, you want that treatment in return. So that's absolutely understandable.
But I don't. From strangers? You're
Child,
crazy.
Stop it.
Do you find you are unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others? This is a never for both of us. Because as empaths, even when we don't want to,
We understand
even when
people.
I have no business caring for you, I do. Do others perceive you as arrogant or snobby?
I do get that people think I'm arrogant.
It's mostly because we speak English a lot. It's the best way I can put this to you guys. When we're in public, we still continue to have conversations in English. And here, it's not our fault technically, but here, in the place we live at, that's considered being too snobby, as opposed to it's just a language I feel comfortable speaking in.
Sure.
I might not have grown up in the States, but I learned English at like age 4 or 5. So it kind of was parallel with my mother tongue. Like, even though I was born and raised here, I learned how to speak both languages almost at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So they are equally as important to me.
Completely understand that. Whereas for me, I think resting ish face runs in my family. And so it's my grandmother, my mom, me. It's just a hereditary kind of thing. So people naturally think, oh, she thinks she's stuck up. So that's where that comes from for me.
Okay. Do you find that you are often envious of others and or believe that others are envious of you?
Child, no.
Why?
For me, I never understand the concept of being envious. I'm like, You want to know where I got my hair done? I'll tell you. You want to know where this outfit came from? I'll tell you. Like, I'm always wanting to put people on, so I can't understand that. But
That's crazy.
No. So that's a no. What's the next one, Mama? What's the next one?
That's it.
No way.
That is absolutely
And it counts it all up.
Yes, it does.
What
And
are the
it's
results?
It's either you are a narcissist or you aren't a narcissist.
And the results say?
Mild indication of narcissistic personality disorder. Because we had a lot of sometimes is theirs, but we're honest. Where I'm not going to be like, no, I don't fantasize about a great future. What do you mean?
But here, the thing is, we've identified in the beginning that everybody has a pinch of narcissistic traits. It's just being a human being. So to be like, no, never, like, that's just not real life. So, I mean, okay, I can take a bit of that, but I still didn't expect the results to be that. But okay,
honestly,
interesting.
I did, because we landed on a lot of sometimes-is.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so we're somewhere in the middle. But I will be honest when I say people who answered never to each of these questions.
Lies.
Yep.
Like 100% lies. Like, you're not even honest about yourself. That's basically what it is.
Just be honest.
Exactly.
You're supposed to be a little selfish. Being selfless. Terrible idea.
Terrible idea.
I've lived that life. It's not cool.
It's not for me. No, but I hope that when you guys took the quiz along with us, that you were able to find out a little bit about yourself.
It's the spectrum. So if you said often and very often, a lot of times when we ask those questions, it's okay. Just like reflect on it. If you said never to all of them,
reflect on it.
Tell me why you lying.
This was actually, I think, a really great topic, because it allows us, again, to be reflective. Me and TG are all about that. We try to emphasize that on every show.
We're mild narcissists and just yay us.
You know what? I will embrace it.
That's not the most narcissistic
thing to say. Oh my God.
We'll work on it, all right? Jesus.
But thank you guys for rocking with us for the past 2 hours.
Yes.
We had a lot of fun.
We did. Today was a great day, Hawiye.
Yeah.
Johanna said, oh, you two got no problems.
Did she say no problem?
With like a sweaty face.
This is so funny.
Shut up.
No, but this was great. And I think that we will do shows like this in the future where we talk about different personality types and people can...
We'll take the quizzes together just to see how much of us are in every sort of personality. We'll take an empath quiz.
I think so, just to be able to learn about ourselves better and learn about human behavior better, because that's what we were talking about in the previous show about being observant.
Yes, this has now become a human behavior analysis show.
Psychology 101
gets free therapy
on board.
Get used to it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. As usual, we had such a fantastic night.
Yes.
Make sure to go follow us on our social media pages. It's Awaze Media, AWAZE MEDIA on everything. Our new video is actually going to come out for our Sis How Do I project with Australian Embassy. It's coming out on Wednesday.
Video 3, guys.
It's kind of a hard video on a hard topic. Today we can tell you. We didn't tell you on Wednesday, but we do talk about sexual assault, sexual violence, and gender-based violence, which is something that we feel
very
as
important.
Women who have a platform is something that we have to advocate for.
Absolutely.
So please make sure to go check it out.
Yeah, we feel like this is a big one, and we want you guys to not only just check out this video, but we also have our other couple of videos that we've posted on our YouTube page, so make sure to check them out.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, they're all on there.
All about it. So we can't wait. We'll see you guys next Friday, same time, same place.
Yes, as usual, stay hydrated. Make good decisions.
Please. Awaze out.
Peace.
Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Awaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Awaze, let's spice it up.